WNBA finals. And so I'll leave it there. I mean, I'm just obviously disheartened. I'm a human too. I have a family. I have 2 kids who are devastated by these comments. And so all I'll say is just, it's.
The WNBA has been trying desperately to keep a lid on the biggest story of the summer, but the dam has finally broken. For weeks, the narrative was simple and carefully curated by the league's PR machine. Caitlin Clark was left off the Team USA roster because of basketball decisions. They told us she needed rest after a grueling college season, where she played more minutes than anyone in the country. They told us she lacked the professional experience to compete on the international stage against grown women. But it looks like Commissioner Cathy Engelbert just let the real truth slip out, and it is far more scandalous than a simple roster snub. We aren't just talking about a player being cut. We are talking about a full-blown mutiny that is shaking the foundation of women's basketball. Reports are now flooding in from multiple insiders suggesting that Caitlin Clark didn't just get left behind. She allegedly refused to play the game entirely. And the catalyst for this explosive decision, it all comes down to a specific, disrespectful offer involving jersey number 12. If you know anything about the hierarchy of the league, you know that number carries more weight, controversy, and history than any other jersey on the floor. It was the ultimate double-edged sword, and Clark saw right through it. This story exposes a league in chaos. You have a commissioner who seems to be losing control of her players, a veteran superstar in Diana Taurasi who is watching her legacy be threatened, and a rookie who has decided that she is bigger than the Olympic Committee. Today, we are going deep into the rumor that has the WNBA front office panicking. We are exposing the Jersey 12 bribe, the jealous culture that forced Clark's hand, and the financial catastrophe that is about to hit Team USA because they played games with the wrong superstar. To understand why this alleged offer was such a slap in the face, you have to understand the deep-seated history and the pettiness that runs deep in the WNBA. Jersey number 12 isn't just a random digit in the WNBA, it is the property of Diana Taurasi. Taurasi isn't just a player, she is the White Mamba, the gatekeeper of the league, and, frankly, the loudest critic of the Caitlin Clark hype train. Before Clark even played a single minute in the pros, it was Taurasi who went on national television regarding Clark and warned her that reality is coming. It wasn't advice, it was a threat wrapped in a prediction. She was telling the world that the new girl wasn't going to have it easy. And she was right, but not for the reasons she thought. Taurasi represents the establishment. She represents the Yukon Mafia that has dominated the league for 2 decades. So when rumors started swirling that Team USA officials, in a desperate bid to fix their PR nightmare after the initial snub backlash, considered offering Clark a spot on the team wearing jersey number 12, it sent shockwaves through the insiders. The speculation was that Taurasi might be stepping into a reduced role or that the number was offered as a symbolic passing of the torch. But let's be real. In the context of their beef, handing Clark the number of her biggest hater wasn't an honor. It was a power move designed to humiliate her. Imagine the optics of that moment. If Clark accepts that jersey, she is essentially bowing down to the establishment. She is wearing the number of the woman who tried to humble her. It would have looked like she was filling in for Taurasi rather than carving out her own lane. Insiders suggest that Clark's camp immediately recognized this for what it was, a trap. They weren't offering her a seat at the table, they were offering her the scraps. And for a player who is single-handedly doubling TV ratings and selling out arenas that have been empty for years, that wasn't just insulting. But that brings us to the part of the story the media is trying to bury, the part that changes everything we thought we knew about this summer. The official line is that Clark was never asked. But if you read between the lines of what Commissioner Engelbert and the selection committee chair Jen Rosati have said, the story doesn't add up. There is a strong belief among analysts that there was a break glass in case of emergency plan. With injuries piling up, specifically looking at Chelsea Gray, who hasn't played all season, and the public backlash growing, the call was likely made to gauge Clark's interest in being an alternate or a replacement. And this is where the narrative shifts dramatically. The rumor is that Caitlin Clark said no, and she didn't just say no because she wanted a vacation. She said no because the trust is broken. Why would she fly to Paris to sit on the bench for a coach, Cheryl Reeve, who has made snarky tweets about her fan base? Why would she sacrifice her off-season to help a team that clearly didn't want her there in the first place? The Jersey 12 offer was the final straw. It symbolized everything wrong with how the league has treated her, trying to use her fame while simultaneously disrespecting her game. By allegedly refusing the spot, Clark flipped the script, ability to use her for marketing. If Team USA struggles, or if the viewership tanks, which we all know it will, they can't blame it on Clark being too tired. They have to own the fact that they pushed her away. This entire situation falls squarely on the shoulders of Commissioner Cathy Engelbert. She has been under fire all season, and for good reason. Her job is to grow the league, but instead she has allowed a culture of hazing and jealousy to fester until it exploded on the international stage. When asked about the roster snub, Engelbert gave a generic corporate answer about trusting the committee. But recently, her tone has shifted. She sounds frustrated, almost defeated. Engelbert knows the numbers. She knows that the WNBA has charter flights this year solely because of the revenue Caitlin Clark brought in. She knows that attendance is up 156% in arenas where Clark plays. Yet, when it came time to protect the league's biggest asset, she folded. She let the old guard of the WNBA dictate the Olympic roster based on tenure rather than talent and marketability. You have to look at the UConn connection to really grasp how rigged this feels against Clark. The selection committee chair, Jen Rosati, is a former UConn player. The coach, Cheryl Reeve, has long-standing ties to that system. The roster is stacked with UConn alumni like Taurasi, Breanna Stewart, and Nafisa Collier. Caitlin Clark, coming from Iowa, is the outsider. She is the one who broke all their records without joining their sorority. There is a legitimate feeling among fans that leaving her off the team was a way to protect the legacy of the UConn dominance. If Clark comes in and leads the team to gold, it proves they aren't the only powerhouse in town. By offering her the 2020 Taurasi number, it was a way to say, you can come, but only if you acknowledge that this is still Diana's team. The rumor that Engelbert allegedly confirmed the refusal comes from her inability to deny the tension. In recent interviews, she has stopped trying to pretend everyone is friends. She has hinted that players have autonomy over their summers. That is code for "we asked, and she turned us down." The commissioner is now stuck in a nightmare scenario. She has a Team USA squad that half the country is rooting against and a superstar who is happily playing golf in Indiana, completely checking out of the league's biggest showcase. The league thought they held all the cards, assuming that the Olympics were the pinnacle that every player would beg for. They forgot that Caitlin Clark is not just every player, she is an economy unto herself. You cannot talk about the refusal to play without talking about what happened during the first half of the season. This wasn't just basketball, it was targeted aggression. We all saw the Kennedy Carter hip check. We saw the Angel Reese clothesline. We saw veteran players cheering when Clark got knocked to the floor. This wasn't welcome to the league physicality, it was personal. And, through it all, the Olympic Committee members watched and did nothing. Many of the women on the Team USA roster are the same women who have been physically punishing Clark in the WNBA. Aya Wilson, Breanna Stewart, Alyssa Thomas. These are the leaders of the league. If Clark had accepted the roster spot, and especially the controversial Jersey 12, she would have been walking into a locker room filled with the very people who have been trying to break her spirit for months. Rumors have circulated that Clark's family and management team were genuinely concerned about her mental well-being and physical safety in that environment. Why send her to Paris to be isolated and frozen out by her own teammates? The Jersey 12 offer likely felt like a hazing ritual in itself, forcing the rookie to wear the veteran's number as a sign of submission. Clark's decision to stay home wasn't just about rest, it was a protective measure against a toxic workplace environment that the commissioner refused to fix. It was a statement that she values her peace over their prestige. Let's dig into the jealousy aspect, because it is the elephant in the room that the WNBA media refuses to address honestly. It's about the shoes.